We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 102 of at least 200 days of code. And today we're going to look a little bit into the new stuff that Leon Andersen was able to build into his new blog. But who better to walk us through these advancements than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Leon Andersen? How are you doing?
Well, I tell you, there's actually one person who's better to walk us through anything, and that person is Quack Norris, because he's always the best at everything. But I am the second best, at least. Well, what did I do today? I fixed the... Oh, I can't... Didn't know that I can't... how's it called? Highlight text in this way. Can I... Here? Okay, here it works. We'll see what I can do about that. Anyways, so yesterday I didn't have the date strings here, or the date showing here in those posts in the post feed. I fixed that. I'll show you in a second. And then there was some other stuff I discovered in that process, I think, that I'll probably go into tomorrow because today is quite late. But I have some interesting questions prepared and already written down in the comments of the code. And what I also did today was the subscribe form. As you can see, it's not styled in terms of most of the styling, especially in terms of positioning. Even though it's in the nav bar, it's in the middle of the screen because there are some random Tailwind class names in there. Yeah, but I can already type in here. I can cancel and it goes away. And yeah, I'll walk you through that logic as soon as I switch the screen share.
Looks great so far.
All right. All right, there we are. And basically, let's look at the date string beforehand. This is the date string that works. And before I had this date string, or this date tag out of a date string. And well, post data.date didn't work because I get the date directly out of the props here, out of all post data 2, which is something we'll go into tomorrow, why it's all post data 2, because I found out that this all post data is not the same all post data as where is it? Not the same as this all post data, which confused me for a while. But I found out that it's not the same, even though it's the same name, has the same name. And I guess by renaming it and having it still working, I proved that it's a different one. And yeah, but I have these questions for tomorrow. Anyways, this is what I changed in the date string. And then let's go into the subscribe form component. Unless there is something important until now.
Both great.
Okay, perfect. So, well, let's look at the subscribe form component. We are using useState because we're basically we need to track the state of a form. We import Axios. That will be important tomorrow because I didn't manage fully yet to connect the API of Mailchimp or with the Mailchimp API, and we'll see if I'll actually use Axios tomorrow still. But that was my first approach. And yeah, we have on cancel and on subscribe as props, and we basically where are we? We get those from our let's put this index here. No, it's not on the index page. The navbar is the page where we have it. We get on cancel and on subscribe as props from the navbar basically, or inside of the navbar component, and both of those actually handle cancel, because if we want to if we click cancel, the cancel button, we want to cancel, obviously, which makes the which sets the show subscription form basically, or show form basically. I'll clean up the naming to make it even more descriptive soon, which will set it to false, so the form disappears. The unsubscribe makes the same, because once we subscribe, we don't want to have it block, have it still show there. We want it to disappear, which actually gets triggered. Both of those get triggered. Where are we? Here in the subscribe form. Where is it? In the handle subscribe, we either have the unsubscribe, or yeah, exactly. In the handle subscribe, we get the unsubscribe executed, which basically, well, wait a second. Handle cancel, handle subscribe click. Yeah, at the moment, I don't understand why this is here. Actually, oh yeah, if unsubscribe gets triggered, gets triggered because the fetching was successful, or the pushing, no, posting, because it's probably a post request. We'll see tomorrow. Then wait, where does it go? Then unsubscribe gets executed, and unsubscribe is Am I correct? Wait, I don't really understand where the flow of action is actually going. Is it wait, so it gets triggered here in the subscribe form, and then but can it pass to its parent? I mean, I don't get in which direction the prop passing goes here. But I know that unsubscribe should in the end trigger handle cancel, as far as I understand it.
Yes, that's correct. I think this is just the same. We're at the same point where we were when we went through. I think it was a to-do app or something in the course, right, where we passed down functions to add to-dos to a list. And you were like, wait, this is the child component doing it. Isn't that kind of like passing state up? But no, you're passing down the handle prop, and then the child component can execute it. But basically, since the logic was set up in the parent component, you can still modify the state of the parent component. I think we had this same exact mindfuck like 3 weeks or so ago when we looked at the, I think it was a to-do app or something.
Yes, exactly. I do remember I thought about while talking about it a moment ago, but I don't really see it clearly in front of my eyes. So here on the left side we have the child. The child triggers the unsubscribe, which is, I mean, if we would have an unsubscribe function somewhere here that gets executed, that would make sense. But I don't understand how the unsubscribe can trigger this, because this is only a description, not a function, or like this is only a value that describes what the prop is going to be. I don't know, and and a subscribe click. Or is it more like this component is triggering the handle subscribe click because we actually click it, which is this one. Oh wait, it doesn't have anything to do with unsubscribe and uncancel. No, this is separate. This is only showing. Wait, okay, so then we have to look at those buttons. Subscribe, cancel. Yes, this one triggers on cancel. But I don't I'm confused about why is the prop called on cancel, but it's at the same time it's not a what? So am I getting it right that this is only triggering to trigger whatever is defined inside of those brackets. Is that the link in here?
Yeah, so if you scroll up in the child component, you will see that we pass in these functions on subscribe and on cancel as props. So what is on subscribe? We set it as a prop in line 25 in the parent component. We say, hey, on subscribe is the handle cancel function. And we say on cancel is also the handle cancel function. That means in the subscribe form, when we pass those to the button on click handlers, when the on click handle triggers because the button is clicked, the function that is being executed is from the child perspective the onCancel function, but in the parent component we see that the onCancel function is actually the handle cancel function. And that means on clicking the button on the child component triggers onCancel, which is handle cancel, so clicking the button on the child component triggers handle cancel. And similar to onSubscribe, because onSubscribe is also handle cancel, when we call onSubscribe in line 21 in the child component, that is actually calling handle cancel. You're just renaming the things. You're just giving it different names from the point of view of the specific component.
Yeah, I would say this is very similar to what we already talked about, but I guess it's not the same. To me, it seems like there's some difference to it, but I guess I get it now. And what confuses me still is that we execute onSubscribe here because onSubscribe itself isn't actually a function. It's defined anywhere. It's just a prop. I didn't know that we can execute a prop.
But the prop is a function, right? So you can pass, because in JavaScript, functions are first class. That means functions can be saved to variables, and props are variables, right? You can pass in numbers, you can pass in strings, but you can also pass in functions. And if the prop happens to be a function, that means you also can call it.
Yeah, that I wasn't aware of. I was confused because I was looking for an unsubscribe function, which is yeah, not to find anywhere. But so if we yeah, I mean, yeah, but like I absolutely I'm pretty sure I understand now, but I have to say that I'm still that this just proves my point that that it's like from child to parent in this case, because the actual function is inside of the parent component and not inside of the just triggering it from the child component. That's how I see it. And I think, and I remember the difference now to the last time we had it. There we also had that we passed arguments inside of the functions, like arguments that were only in the scope of the child component before, and we passed those basically upwards to the parent component. I think that was also part of the last situation.
Yes, I think I don't mean you said you proved your point. So while saying that, you said, hey, the function is really only in the parent component, right? And I think the clearest way to prove for yourself that you cannot pass props upwards, only downwards, is define a value inside of the child. Let's say you in the subscribe form, you're putting in 4. You cannot put the like a value 4. You say, hey, const my number equals to 4. You cannot pass this value up to the parent. The only way to do it is if quote unquote the parent lets down a rope or like a function, and then the child component calls that function and puts the value that you want to pass up into that function. So you can kind of envision the parent component puts a bucket on a rope down, and then the child puts the variable, the number 4 into the bucket, and then when you click it, it pulls up the bucket again from the point of view of the parent component, then it gets the number. But there's no way data flows out, data always flows down. If the data that is flowing down in the closure of the function, for example, in the scope of the function, modifies the parent function state, that is still valid, that is okay. And that is kind of the hack way how child components can influence the parent component states. But there's no way to let data flow up otherwise without kind of letting down this rope to the parent component that can then be used by the child component.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor. Yeah, basically the one could say that the parent component is pulling it up from the child component, not the child component passing it up to the parent component. Something more like this, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, because you are calling the function inside of the child component, in the metaphor that was the child component putting the number in the bucket. But then you're correct, like when the function is called, it's still being executed in the parent component.
So if we don't put anything in the bucket, it's still like the parent, like in this case, we don't put anything in the bucket, but the child basically like knocks against the bucket, kind of to signal that it's that the parent can execute it or something like that. Is that a good metaphor for this case?
Yeah, 100%. You nailed it.
Always be knocking in the bucket. That's a new wisdom of today, I would say.
Sounds good, yeah.
Okay, and yeah, I think that's mostly it for this subscribe form logic. I mean, we have here the if show subscription is true, then it's also renders the subscribe form. Component. So this button, the subscribe button itself, is not the subscribe component. It's a different button. I don't know if it's actually possible to build it where the subscribe button that we initially click is already part of the component, where it maybe shows, I guess it's possible, where it shows the rest of itself, like subcomponents of itself, after being clicked. Would that be possible as well?
Of course, yes.
Damn, I'm such a hacker. Okay, yeah, awesome. And is it important, or are there any benefits of doing it one or the other way?
No, it's only what you understand the best and what you think is the cleanest and neatest from your personal point of view.
Awesome. Yeah, then oh yeah, I have one question. If we want to export arrow components as arrow functions, or arrow function as components, we can't export default function then, right? We would have to transform them into a normal function beforehand if we want to export default them in this line. right?
Well, technically you could export default and anonymous function. But you're right, as soon as you save it in a variable like navbar, you have to first save it and then export it. So the rule is basically function expressions can be default exported, which means also an anonymous arrow function can be export defaulted. However, the assignment of the arrow function first has to be captured in the variable and then export defaulted.
So it can't be done inline, basically, directly.
Not if you want to give it a name, but you could, for example, in line 6, remove the const navbar equals to, and you could just say export default, and then it would still work.
But how could we import that function or that component somewhere else then?
Because the name that you're giving must not be the name that it has here. You could import this navbar as a Santa Claus. It doesn't matter. And similar, it doesn't matter if you export it anonymously, you can still give it a name with a different file.
As long as I import it from the file, import Santa Claus from navbar.js?
Exactly, because files can only have one default export. It will always be obvious what you mean by it.
Always let Santa Claus knock the bucket, I would say.
I have a little bit to add, but I'm saving it for the outro.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, and I want to press how delighted I was when the ChatGPT basically gave me text blue 500 for this button. And I could just change blue to red, and it worked immediately. And Next.js rendered it immediately. It was magic. It was absolutely gorgeous experience. And I'm looking very much forward. Maybe tomorrow I'll do the styling. I have a little bit of more stuff to do tomorrow that I have to get out of the way to get even more time for coding. But maybe I can get into a little bit of styling tomorrow because yeah, we'll see how long the API, the Mailchimp setup will take, but maybe I can get into styling already, and looking forward to that. And I guess that's it for today, I would say. Is there anything? No, I would say that's it.
Great. Then this has been day 102 of 200 days of code together with
Leon Andersen, who will do his second day of 100 days of gym right after the stream. And with my mentor,
Alef Mill, who, as you might know, is in the heat condition, because if you want to program well, you need to also go to the gym every day. I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want. Gym's still good for your health and good to clear your mind. But the more important thing that I wanted to say is always put up the bucket, especially if you're quacking like a bucket. Thank you, everybody.
until tomorrow.